Types of induction relay. There are three types of induction relay. First is called as a shaded pole construction. Second is watt-meter or the double winding construction, and third is called as the induction curve structure. Then, starting with the shaded pole structure. In case of shaded pole structure, the poles at the air gap is slotted and one winding is placed on the core at one limb of it, like this. As we know, the magnetizing effect of electric current, where whenever current is passed through any coil, it sets up its own magnetic field around that conductor throughout the length of it. So same principle occurs here. Now, as two slots are there, on each slot we are placing one shading ring. This is the aluminum disc which is pivoted at the center and which is placed inside the air gap of the core. Then when the current is passed, the fluxes starts to flow through the core, as well as they will pass through this air gap. As both of the sections are similar, that's why the total fluxes flowing through both of the sections will be same. There will be no deflection or no delay in the fluxes of both sections. But whenever we place the shading ring on one section at the both ends, then these shading rings are nothing but the short circuited coil which are short circuited on itself. So whenever the fluxes passes through this shading ring, then that shading ring acts as a short circuited secondary of the transformer, and that's why they produces their own magnetic field, and that fluxes produces a delay in the fluxes between the fluxes passing through the unshaded pole as well as the fluxes passing through the shaded pole. We will consider phi u as the fluxes flowing through the unshaded pole, as well as phi s for the fluxes flowing through the shaded pole. And as in the previous lecture we discussed that the force exerted or force generated in the aluminum disc is directly proportional to the product of fluxes produced by the unshaded pole as well as fluxes produced by the shaded pole multiplied by the sine of the angle between that two fluxes. That's why F is directly proportional to phi 1 phi 2 into sine alpha. So here the phi 1 is nothing but the phi u, that is unshaded pole fluxes, phi s is the shaded pole flux. So F is directly proportional to the phi u into phi s into sine alpha. So as the phi u and phi s are directly proportional to the current I singly, here two currents are not there, a single coil is there and that is producing a single flux, but due to the presence of the shading ring, the fluxes are delayed. That's why both of the fluxes are produced by the same current, and if we put the value of I at the place of phi u as well as phi s, then we will get that the force produced in the disc is directly proportional to the square of the current into sine of alpha, where alpha is nothing but the angle between the phi u and phi s.